Hey y'all, this is Sup Studios, and today I am going to be showing you how to add controller support to your Clickteam Fusion game. Just gonna note right now, this tutorial works for any kind of game. I know I usually do Sonic kind of tutorials, but this will work for any kind of game. I know most of my audience works with like simple Sonic worlds, and you're probably wondering how do we add it into there. I will get to that later in the video. Here, I'll put a timestamp on screen right now that can tell you where exactly to go in the video, and that will show how to do it in simple Sonic worlds. But for now, I'm just going to show how to do it in any kind of game. So some things I'll note. First off, this is going to assume you already have some kind of player movement set up for the keyboard. So let's say this is a like gameplay test frame from one of my games that I'm working on, and I just decided to use this because it had some basic player movement. It used the player movement objects here. You don't even have to use these if you just have a basic like when right key pressed add 1 to X position. That works too. Just if you have any kind of movement already set up for the keyboard, then that's good. That's the position you want to be in for this tutorial. I guess another thing I'll say is compatibility with controllers. So if you can't tell, I am using an Xbox One controller for this tutorial with a like wired USB plug here. As for controller compatibility, what will work, what won't work, Xbox 360 and Xbox One controllers are the best options, especially 360. As you can see, the Xbox Gamepad object is literally a 360 controller. So 360 is going to be like the best option probably, but Xbox One works great too. Xbox Series X, it should work fine as well. I have not tested it because I don't own a Series X controller, but it should work fine. As long as you have like a port on the top or that you can plug a USB into and plug it into your computer, it should work then. So Xbox controllers, they usually work. PlayStation controllers, they kind of work, but they're buggy. I've tried a PS3 controller and like the joysticks worked, but none of the buttons worked. So PS3 is buggy. I have not tested PS4 or PS5, so that I don't know. I'm not sure about that. If someone wants to let me know if those do work in the comments, you can. Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, I'm just gonna say they don't really work. They're very buggy, especially since they can't really plug into the computer, and then it's like 2 controllers to make one. Switch Pro controllers though, if they have like a USB port on the top here, they might work. No promises because I have not been able to test that, but they might work. If you have one, you can try it, you can follow the tutorial using it, but if it doesn't seem to be working, then sorry, I guess they don't work. But feel free to let me know if they do actually work, if someone out there tests them. There's a website you can go on here, a gamepad tester. I'll link this in the description. But basically, you plug in your controller to your computer and you can actually test your whole gamepad here. So I know this says Xbox 360 controller. I don't know why it says that. This is clearly an Xbox One. But as you can see, I can move stuff around and I can test button inputs. This is usually good if you pick up used controllers and you want to make sure all the buttons work great without needing to like go in a game and actually test them in a game. But as you can see, all of the buttons work for me. My joysticks are, especially the left one, my left joystick seems to be a bit like off, like it's not smooth. The right one isn't as bad, but it doesn't go out all the way. So yeah, my joysticks are pretty used, but my shoulder buttons work, start buttons, this back, and so actually something else I should know, in the program it's gonna say stuff like back and start buttons. On Xbox 360 you literally have your back and start buttons like right here. On Xbox One, obviously they are not, if you can see. They're not literally start and back, but it'll work the same. This will be the back button and this will be the start button. So like I said, Xbox 360 is probably the most compatible option, but Xbox One works great as well. You can also do stuff like vibration. I am really unsure if you're able to actually hear the vibration in the microphone, but you can make it infinite and turn it off, and then you can do just a 1 second vibration. You can test the joysticks as well, just see how they are. As you can see, my left one here is terrible and my right one isn't as bad, but yeah, this isn't the best controller I have. This controller is like that Player 2 controller, if you know what I mean. I have a different controller that's way nicer quality, but this is just that Player 2 controller. This is a good way to test if your controller is good, so that way if certain buttons aren't working, you can verify your controller is fine. So there's that. And then another thing, if you own the Steam version of Clickteam Fusion here, there's some settings that might automatically turn on that you might want to turn off. So if you have a controller plugged in, this icon, this controller icon, should pop up. If not, try refreshing it, like click on a different game, click on this again. The icon should pop up. Even for other games that support controllers, the icon should pop up if you have a controller plugged in. So if you do, then you can go on, click this, and this is what mine looks like. Yours may look different, but as you can see, Steam has a like game built input gamepad that you can use for certain games that might be buggy with controllers. It will say this game does not have controller support. That is simply because you can't like use the controller to actually like do stuff in Clickteam. You can only use the controller if you program it into your game. So for Clickteam, even though it says it doesn't have controller support, you can ignore that. Now if you open this window and it looks like this, where the Steam input is turned on, turn it off, disable Steam input. With that turned on, it completely bugs the whole controller out, and none of the buttons work, none of the joysticks work. Yeah, it just bugs it out completely. So make sure it's turned off, make sure your page looks like this, and once it's good, you can either do X or you can be fancy and you can press the B button to go back. So get that set up, make sure that's good, make sure inputs are all good there, and then we can finally hop over to Clickteam here. First, you'll need this object, the Xbox Gamepad. Oh yeah, I had this already. If you literally search up Xbox, it's right there. If you don't have it, go into the manager and search for it there. Check if it needs an update. Even if it's already installed, check if it needs an update, because of course, if it's outdated, it can be very buggy and might not work properly. So I would do that if you already have this installed but have never used it. Okay, so once you have this object in your frame here, luckily this doesn't show up in your frame at all, so even if it's there, it will not show up. But usually the logical thing to do is just drag it off frame so it's there. There's really no options for this except stick and shoulder dead zones. So basically what this option does, it's not super important, you usually want it checked anyway, but if your controller, if the joysticks on your controllers are kind of poor, where they might not perfectly center, they might like be a little off and not center properly, if Clickteam detects that it's very close to 0, but not really moved out, but not on perfectly on 0, it will just round down to 0 and assume that the joystick is not being moved at all. So really, you want to have this turned on no matter what. I would recommend it, but especially if you have crappy joysticks, I would definitely turn this on. There's really no point in turning it off because it can be buggy, so just leave that on. But in case you're wondering what that does, that's what that does. So now getting into code, I guess first thing I can say is make an active object out here. You'll see why in a second. So active, like that. I'm just going to use what I already had here. Just make this, turn this option, visible at start, turn that off so it's invisible when we get in the frame here. You'll see why. So basically, first thing that technically isn't really necessary, but it is nice to eliminate possible problems if you're having issues, would be basically an icon to tell you if it senses a controller has been connected. So in a way, so go to the Xbox Gamepad, it is under, so Gamepad is connected, and then so for players, on this specific one, it says 0 to 3. Basically, 0 is player 1, 1 is player 2, 2 is player 3, etc. for 4 players. So for this one, leave that 0 by default. So it's gonna say player 0, it gets confusing, but basically what it is if a gamepad for player 1 has been sent, like it's connected, like it can find it, then we want this object to appear to tell us that it has been connected. So we can simply just do reappear, and then what you can do is you can copy this. I'm gonna try to, I can't use my main keyboard, so bear with me here. You can copy this, and if it gets disconnected, so we can negate this. So if there is no controller connected, we can, instead of having that reappear, we can make that invisible. So that way it can update live and tell us if the controller is there, if it's been disconnected. This is good to eliminate bugs and possible problems if it doesn't seem to be working for you. So let's try that. So as you can see, it's there because my controller is still plugged in, but if I were to unplug this, as you can see, it completely disappeared right away. If I were to plug it back in, give it a second, and there it is. So there's of course a slight delay because the actual controller needs to connect to the computer, but as you can see, that is a nice little way of being able to see if the controller is connected or not. So as you can see, now we can tell if our controller is actually connected or not. Something I should have said earlier, if you're probably wondering, can you do this wirelessly? Can you connect to the computer wirelessly? For actually playing the game, like your players playing the game, they might be able to do that and it might work fine. I'm not sure though. But for you, the developer, the one actually coding the game, I would highly recommend having it plugged into the computer all the time, because Bluetooth can get buggy, it can disconnect, it can not want to connect for some reason. So for the developer, I would recommend plugging it in, but for just the player playing the game, they might be fine, but you can test that in your own time. So we have that set up now. So now as for actually making some inputs here, so as you can see, this is not the greatest code ever, but for animation directions here, I have just right arrow and left arrow, and then for movement here, I have right arrow and left arrow. And then for Z, only if it's standing on ground, I have jump happening here. So let's say these are my controls here, literally my basic controls, and I want to add options for Xbox controls if there are just gamepad controls. So starting off, you want to do an OR, specifically a lot. Actually, I honestly can't remember if the filtered or logical OR is what you do, but I tested this with logical OR and it worked great. So just do logical OR. You want to have that for all of them here. Now you want to, of course, let's say, so what did I do? Right arrow. So to move right, let's start with basic stuff with like the D-pad here. So as you can see, we have options for buttons and sticks and shoulders. So you have stuff like, this is just basic Clickteam stuff here, but say gamepad's connected, we went over that. Button is pressed, and then any button is pressed. Buttons, as you can see, we have A, B, X, Y, back button, start button. On shoulders, we have left shoulder and right shoulder. These right here would be referring to these front shoulders here. I will later on go over these back shoulder buttons and how to get those in there properly. Sticks here, all you have is left stick is pressed and right stick is pressed. Doing actual joystick movement on this object is a little bit advanced. It's not a simple thing, and it's not just an option there. So, but like left stick pressed and right stick pressed, that would be like pushing down and clicking on the joystick. I'm not sure if you can hear me clicking, but that's what those options are if you have an idea for using that. And then obviously directional pad is just the whole D-pad. So for going right, let's say the D-pad is pressed, and then we want to do it for players as well. So now for this, it'll tell you up here, 1 is player 1, 2 is player 2, 4 is player 3, and 8 is player 4. So it goes in binary number order for some reason, while the other one just does 0 through 3. So for this, now for player 1, you would want to do 1. I'm not going to be going over like multiple gamepads connected or multiple controllers. This is just going to be as if it's one controller. So let's test that. So as you can see, I'm going to do the keyboard first. He's still moving left and right. But now we're going to go here, and this is going to be the right button on the D-pad. If I hold it down, he's moving. Obviously we can't go left because I didn't program that in, but as you can see, he's moving now when we do that. So left arrow, let's do the same thing. So insert the gamepad, D-pad. Now we want to do left D-pad, and again for player 1, enter, and then yeah, that's good right there. So now when we get in, we should be able to do right and left. You'll notice he's moonwalking because we did not set up directions. Now, depending on how your movement code is set up, it could vary, but as you can see, right and left are working now. For directions, this is how I have my directions set up. Same thing, so I could literally just drag these in, like copy and paste them into here. And by me doing that, now when I do it, the direction, yep. Okay, so now you can see for me, the directions change for the D-pad, which is nice. So now we can move back and forth here with the D-pad. And then obviously for programming, I have on the keyboard set where he'll look up and like crouch down. I'm not gonna show setting that up because it's literally the same process. I think those are in here somewhere. I don't know. Oh, it's somewhere in here. These are like up arrow stuff. So it'd be the same idea as what you saw, just putting in, like for D-pad at least, putting that in. And then let's say jumping now. So I actually forgot to, oh wait, no, we did the ORs here. So say we have our OR here. So upon pressing Z, that's the key I have set. We want to insert, and then under buttons now, you can choose what button you want. Of course, you have, yeah, you can really do anything you want for jump, any controls you want. You don't have to set up D-pad, you don't have to do buttons, you can do whatever you want. So for tutorial's sake, I'm gonna just do button A, and then again for player 1, enter. Now for my case, this could vary for you, but for my case, I also need to take this object is standing on ground and drag it here to avoid double jumping in a way, or being able to jump mid-air. So that's just something I need to do. If you use this object as well, you might have to do that too. So I don't know, that will just vary. So now going in here, so again, going back to the controller, we can go right and left, and then now if we push A, we can jump. Same on the keyboard, we can jump as well. So as you can see, that works great. So now joystick movements, being able to like move left and right with like the joystick here. That gets slightly confusing, but it's perfectly doable. So what we'll do, let's say for example I want to have the D-pad and the joystick as an option, so I'll make another OR, and then under here what we want to do is you'd think it'd be under here, but actually what we want to do, I believe, we want to compare two general values, and then under the controller here we have slightly different options. Say given button pressed, fine pressed button, say the buttons are pressed, that's the same. Now for sticks though, we can still get stick pressed, but now we can get horizontal position and vertical position, and then left and right would simply be the left joystick and the right joystick. So, and then the triggers as well, you can get position of left trigger. I'm pretty sure these are now referring to the back triggers. These are not referring to the shoulders anymore. These are now referring to back triggers. So I'll go over those in a second. But for sticks here, let's say most games usually have the left stick as movement, so I want to get the horizontal position. And then again, for what player number, we want to get it for player 1. And then now under here, basically we want to get the value of the horizontal position. So 0 would just be in the middle. I'm not sure what the maximum value is. I'm just gonna assume it's -1, like 100, like -100 on one side, 100 on the other side. I'm not sure if that's the exact value, but it wouldn't matter for this sake. So let's say 0 is obviously if you're not moving it at all, but let's say, what are we on? We're on right, so we want to go in the positive direction, right. If you remember number lines from math, positive goes to the right, negative goes to the left. We want to do greater, definitely not greater or equal, only greater than 0. You can increase the value a little bit, just so all that would do is, like, if you slightly push the joystick, it'll move, or if you have to push it, like, all the way out there to actually get it to move. But all I want to do is just if you move it at all in that direction, it will move. So we want to do greater than 0 to tell it that whenever the horizontal position of the left stick is moved that way, where it's greater than 0, we want to do the same thing as these would do. So let's see what that looks like. So of course we have the keyboard over here, and then let's say we have the D-pad over here, and now, as you can see, okay, obviously direction is not set up. Let me get them like that. Let me move them over here and get them like that. So now, as you can see, when I move the joystick, I'm gonna try to get this, okay. When I move the joystick here, he is moving, and it's working fine. So what you can actually do now is simply just copy that, and then actually, well, drag another OR down here. You can either copy that and paste it, or you can just drag it like that. And then under here, because we're still dealing with horizontal positions, so this all stays the same, but instead now for going left, we want to do lower than 0. So now, if we go in here, as you can see, with the joystick, we can go back and forth with the joystick now. And then, like, going up isn't gonna do anything. Going diagonal sort of works. It does, okay. That is what setting, like, if you don't want it to just be 0, you want it to be a higher number, that would stop you from being able to, like, move it diagonal and still be moving. I obviously don't care. Players can, like, up and down will obviously be reserved for their own things, but whatever position the players want to move it diagonal technically moves them left and right too. But I don't care, I just want it to move back and forth. So as you can see, the joystick is working, our D-pad can work, and setting up direction would be the same thing, just literally copying and pasting. Well, hold on, that's left, hold on. This is gonna be there, that's there, then that's there, so that would set up direction for my case. So as you can see, that works great. We still have A as our jump button. Something I did not say earlier that I should say now, this button, hold on, let me make sure. This button, the actual, like, Xbox logo button in the middle, that button is unfortunately not able to be programmed at all. I mean, if I press it here, that just brings up, oh, actually, I don't even think you can see it on OBS. No, you can't even see it on OBS. That brings up, like, the whole Xbox menu thing, like the Microsoft menu. So this button cannot be programmed into Clickteam at all. No object just allows us to do that. So if you wanted to make this like your pause button or something, unfortunately that's not going to work. Obviously, same with the sync button. The sync button cannot be programmed in because that's obviously used for syncing to the computer. Every other button here, though, can be programmed in. So let's say like your start button over here can be like your pause and unpause button. I have an example here. I'll link this in the description, but this is like a gamepad tester to show if the controller is working properly. So running this, as you can see, if I move this around, the arrow, the circles move around, and you can see they don't move perfectly because we already saw my joysticks are not that great. But like it shows the D-pad pushing, it shows these buttons, it shows the back and start. So as you can see, this is why Xbox 360 is going to be the most compatible option, because the object itself is programmed with back and start, which are just these buttons here. So it luckily still works, but shoulder buttons here, and then the triggers, as you can see, they're like progress bars that show the pressure you put on it, whether they're fully pressed or they're like partly pressed, you know. And then obviously this button can't be pressed at all. You can see in here there isn't even a circle over it, so that is like a giveaway that it can't be pushed. You can do soft vibrate as well. Oh yeah, that's something I forgot to go over. I'll go over that in a second, but you can soft vibrate in this example, and you can hard vibrate, and it does, I don't know if you can hear it through the microphone, but it does vibrate the controller. It's kind of the same thing as the joysticks, kind of the same idea. I'll just make a new thing here. You would compare two general values, and I believe instead you get position of triggers. So let's do left trigger, and again for player 1, and then the position here, this I do know for a fact is like between 0 to 100. So 100 would be fully pressed down, and 0 is of course not pressed at all. So if you just want to have it where if the triggers are pressed at all, like they're like whether it's just a little bit or all the way, if you just want to have it where they're pushed down in the slightest bit, you can again just do greater than 0. If you want to have it where the player needs to kind of push it, make sure I can push it. If you want to have it where the player can kind of push it, has to like push it down quite a bit, maybe like around halfway. You really intend it to be fully, but you don't want it to be like they only push it a little bit and it does it. You kind of want them to really have to push it to actually get it to go. You could do like maybe say 30. That doesn't work right. You can do like 30, maybe even 50. 50 is like the halfway point there. I would recommend doing like maybe 25 if you just want to avoid it slightly pressing and triggering something. You could do like 25 as a safe thing. That's like quarter of the way through. So if the player is like playing it and they like bump the, say like they like bump the thing here, they didn't intend to press it, they just bump it, it will not actually trigger. So that can just be a little safety thing, but that would be, so you do that, and then of course if it's greater than 25 you would have it do whatever you want that trigger to do. So that is the triggers for vibrate. Okay, so for this example I'm just going to do when the object is jumping, and then only one action when event loops, so that way it doesn't fire it off constantly. This would be like anything you want to cause it to vibrate, but to get it to actually vibrate, it's pretty much right here, vibrate. First you need to do player, so we want 1 for player 1. And then you need to choose the motors too, so if you have like never opened a Xbox controller and you don't know what's talking about with motors, basically right here and right here are 2 motors, and that is what actually causes the vibration to happen. So basically you're choosing so it starts with the left motor, and you're basically choosing the power you want it to do. So you can either have it only, let's say like obviously 0 is not going to vibrate at all, so let's say 10, that's just a little bit of vibration, but 100 is like maximum vibration, so I'll do 10 for now. And then same exact thing for the right motor. 99% of the time you most likely want these to be the same, so I'm going to do 10 for both of them. And then now for the duration. So it can get confusing because it's like in 1/1000th of a second. So you really can just experiment with numbers and lengths here. So let's say I'll do like 500 here. After doing that, so as you can see we have it where if the object is jumping, then vibrate the gamepad of player 1, do 10 on the left and right motor for a duration of like 500 1,000ths of a second, whatever it is. So So that actually did vibrate for me because he was in the air. But if I jump here, now I honestly don't know. I don't think you can hear it at all. You probably can't really. I don't know. This one is kind of hard to show through a video, but at least I'm feeling it, and it is vibrating just as I intended, and it's very light. It's not vibrating super hard. So let's say now I want to go in here, still player 1, but instead want it to be 100 now. I want it to be a really crazy vibration. And let's see now. So, oh yeah, that's like rough. That's a really rough vibration. Like I'm sorry, it's hard to show through video. You can't really, maybe, not sure if yeah, I'm not sure if there's any way I can really show that, but hopefully that's working for you. If all the buttons on the controllers are working and you set that up properly, it should work too. So that is that, and then these are like, so obviously player 1's obviously going to be 1, but say these, you can always set these to different values. Like if you want to have an alterable value for what kind of like damage gets done to a player, if it's more damage, you can have it vibrate harder. If it's less damage, you can have it vibrate lighter. Last thing I'll say, this is kind of for if you want to have it where the keyboard or controller can constantly be used. But let's say like you have like, I honestly should have prepared these, but say you have like sprites for certain keys, like it shows like press Z key or something like that, and you want it to change to like press A if a controller is connected, and then you only want it to do that. Obviously, say you have like a bunch of objects with like keyboard keys, but you put another animation, like another frame in them. I'm not sure what this black frame is, but this is a good example. Let's say like this first frame is the keyboard input, and then this second frame is your controller input, like sprite to show like what button to press. If a gamepad is connected, you would set all of those, like say like for frames you'd set the frame, for animation sequence you could set the sequence to the controller one, and then if it's not connected you would set it to the keyboard one. And say for these here, these are obviously, they'll work all the time no matter what, but if you say you want to disable, you want to not have the keyboard work when a controller is connected, or you don't want to have a controller work if there's no controller connected, obviously, you would simply want to have if a gamepad is not connected, then you can do right arrow. So if a gamepad is, so here's what I'll do. I'll drag this around here. So this will only apply to this. It won't hurt these down here. So yeah, I'll actually do that for all these. So probably do it for direction 2 to avoid confusion. So now we have it where for the keyboard, if a gamepad is not connected, if there's no controller connected, we can use the keyboard, but if the controller is connected, then the keyboard should not work. So here's what we'll do. Let's unplug our controller so it's not connected. As you can see, our active object will disappear. So the keyboard, I'm pushing it. The keyboard still works great right now. Can still do that. I can still jump. But let's connect our controller. Give it a second. The active object shows up. That tells us our controller is connected. We can obviously do all of the inputs we put in on the controller, and it still vibrates. Okay, I forgot about that. But now, if I try to do the keyboard over here, I don't know if you can hear me pushing the keys. You can actually see the values up here changing. Those were set up for the directions, I think, so you can see those values changing, but he's not moving. Jump, that isn't working either. So the keyboard isn't working because a gamepad is connected, but if we unplug that gamepad and the object goes away, the keyboard is functional again. We can move around, we can jump. So okay, now that should be everything for like if you have your own original game and you already have controls set up. So now yeah, if that's all you wanted, if you don't care about Sonic fan games, then you're done. You don't have to keep watching. But if you were here only for Sonic fan games to set up your control, because I know most of my audience works with Simple Sonic Worlds, so if you were here to set up your controller for a Sonic fan game, keep watching, or unless you skipped to this timestamp, then welcome. Okay, so for all of my audience out there that only deals with Sonic fan games, specifically Simple Sonic Worlds, I'm going to show you how you can add the controller input here. And I'll say this right away, it's already here. Did my camera get messed up? Hold on, my camera got messed up, I think. So, it's already in here. A is jump, B, X, and Y don't do anything. A jumps though. Joystick moves. Right joystick doesn't do anything. Left joystick moves. You can move with the D-pad as well. The shoulders don't do anything. Start and back don't do anything either. So that's already set up actually, but I will show you how exactly it's set up. So as you can see, they're already here, the objects are here. You might see this, the joypad object. This is an alternative object used for setting up a joystick movement. It's a bit more advanced though, and of course I showed you how to do it with just the Xbox gamepad. This is more of an advanced one though. I'm not going to show how to use it, but one thing I will note, this thing is known for causing lag. If you are trying to work with your frame here and you're getting FPS drops for no reason, especially if you have like no objects in here, try deleting this thing and see if it helps. This is known for causing lag, that's why I didn't want to show how to use it, but fortunately Simple Sonic Worlds uses this, it's programmed in. If I try to delete it, you can see there's code with it. But of course they use the Xbox gamepad. So where all of this exactly set up, and I actually had it up here, it's inside the Simple Sonic Worlds one, general methods, it's in the step events, in input management, and I'm gonna say right now, this does not work in Simple Sonic Worlds. This will only work in not so simple Sonic Worlds. So if your input management group doesn't have this not so simple at the end of it, then it might not work for you. So they already set up everything. I think unpack and assign. That's okay. So as you can see, they have if the controllers are connected or not. They have all this for you. They have old inputs. These are the inputs for the joysticks, and then these are inputs for Xbox. So as you can see, they still use like stick left and right for analog sticks, but they have D-pads, they have the X and A. Oh, what did X do? X wasn't doing anything. I don't know. Okay, but they have all these crazy inputs, like they have master input, and the master input talks to the key inputs, the key ups, and that sets key pressed to that, and they have all this extra crap here, and then key sets that to that. They have all this extra crap here that isn't really necessary. Well, I mean, it's necessary for what they coded, but that's how they did it. They have most of it set up here for Not So Simple Sonic World, so what you can simply do if your input management doesn't say Not So Simple, get Simple Sonic Worlds if you don't already have it, copy this, literally copy the group, and then go into your version, delete your old group, and repaste this new group, and it should just automatically work. Like I said, it's already kind of here. They thought ahead with that, and they just programmed it in already, so it's here. You can play your Sonic fan game with controller input if you didn't know that. Feel free to go back to some old Sonic fan games created with Clickteam Fusion, or made with Fusion, but also made with Simple Sonic Worlds, and some of them might actually support controller inputs. You'd be surprised. If you want to change controls in here, like if they have A set to jump, obviously. Let's say you don't want A as jump. I'm not sure what X does. But let's say you don't want A as jump, you want B as jump. I think, oh, you can't edit that. You have to literally replace that, find the object, and do B is pressed. But do it for player 1. So, oh, okay. So that right there does that. And then I think literally if we go in here, A does not work anymore, but now B is the jump button. So yeah, that's okay. So now B is the jump button, so B does all that. So it's kind of hard to edit this if there's certain things you don't really want in here, but if you want, say, you can change some keys here. Say these here are probably easy to understand. These we went through. So as you can see, they have it where it does have to kind of go past 50. Like you kind of do have to push on the joystick a bit to actually be able to move or sense an input. So they did that. Yeah, this is hard to edit and understand if you're trying to have it like that, but it's already there and you can just kind of work with it. And of course there's plenty of buttons open up to you that you can set custom inputs to. The triggers, they do have code for the trigger. They have the shoulders, or well, they have the shoulders. They don't, maybe they do have the triggers. Oh nope, they do. Because they don't actually do anything, you can still like set up your own code here for the buttons to do stuff. So that is it, I believe. That's it for giving a controller support to your Clickteam Fusion game. That's gonna be it. I'm glad I could make a comeback with this tutorial after being gone for so long. So thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all. I will see you in the next tutorial. Goodbye.